Welcome to Ladybower, 504 acres of premier trout fishery here in the heart of the Peak District. The fishery stocks rainbow, blue and brown trout. It can be fished from the bank with over 13 miles of accessible bank to fish. If mobility is a problem, you can always hire one of the boats. In this video, I will be chatting to Pete Evell about the rise in popularity of fly fishing here at Ladybower, as well as the setup and tactics I'm going to use to try and tempt some of the lake's hard-fighting fish. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Well, I'm joined by Pete Evell on a beautiful morning here at Ladybower. And Pete, thanks very much for having me along. I really appreciate it. So, Pete, you've been involved since December last year, and what was the driver behind that? Because I believe you were retired before.
Yeah, I've been retired about 12 months and getting a bit bored, and I was looking to do something good, and I just wanted to provide an amenity in sort of the Midlands of real quality trout fishing on a big reservoir. Really, north of Rutland, there's not a lot of this big reservoir stuff going.
Hardly any. Hardly any.
And the response we've had from lads up in the northwest and the northeast has been absolutely phenomenal.
I know you can't see at the moment, folks, because we're looking down the reservoir, but behind the camera is the car park, and it's Saturday morning at the end of August, and it's absolutely chocker. And I think the reason for that is it's still continuing to fish well.
It's fishing very, very well. I think there are two main reasons we're fishing exceptionally well compared with everywhere else is the depth of the water. We've got 135 feet of water underneath us. At 10 metres deep, we're still only 14, 15 degrees. This means the fish can remain high-ish in the water. They can pop up, taking the flies off the top. When they start losing a bit of breath, they seem to go down, and we're getting that very consistent sport.
And just for selfish reasons, Pete, how clear is the water? Because I did hope to fish some dry fly today.
Dry fly was fishing very well all week, and yesterday's been fishing very well. The water clarity is excellent. The only time we get a problem with water clarity is if we get a big flood up on the moors, way over towards Manchester there, and it drags some of the peat silt down there. That normally takes 5 or 6 days just to settle down. And it does affect the fishing. They get a bit of an acid spike in the water.
Does it turn them off,
it just turns them off, and they drop down. The acid water sits on the top, and they'll just sit down underneath and go a little bit.
You can still get them
a little bit. They're not quite as keen, but you can still catch them.
Yeah. And you know what? When I was looking at the fishery this morning, I've been round the fishery doing some B-roll, and I can't help but notice the similarities to Cluedo.
Very, very similar to
very
Cluedo.
Similar sort of topography.
It's very similar topography, but also what people don't know, the water's very, very similar. It's peaty water coming in off the moors, and it really, really suits these rainbow trout. I was over at Cluedo with Russ, who's been so supportive of this venture, going around his fish rearing.
He's such a nice chap, isn't he? Ross
He's a lovely
Gaza
chap.
Done a great job.
So generous, and they've been so supportive of this, and they've saved me making a lot of mistakes, honestly.
Well, that's good. It's good to hear that fishery owners are cooperating to help elevate the sport, because I think fly fishing really needs a boost. We need to get some young people in and try and get people back on the water.
Yeah, we're trying to do our best. Yesterday we must have had 10 lads under 16 out there. We have a lads and dads ticket where if you buy your day ticket, if your kids are under 16, they can come and fish for free.
Yeah.
And we do get a lot of youngsters in. We're actively
trying to support that. And that's a great way of parents getting their kids into the sport. I've been on, they've got an excellent website here at Ladybower, and I'll link that in the description below. It's worth checking out once you've finished watching the video. There's so many different tariffs and options for people as regards to fishing tickets. And not only that, there's 13 miles of bank to fish, which is incredible.
30, and the bank fishing...
You get yourself lost, couldn't you?
You really can. It's massive. You can't do the whole bank in a day. You're not even close. But the bank fishing in the top of the arms in the early seasons is spectacular. It's better than the boats right through into April.
No, it's fantastic. I think because it's so far, when I come up next time, I'll need to find somewhere local to stay and do 2 or 3 days perhaps.
I think you'll enjoy that. You've just got to get to know the reservoir.
A very short window today to make this video, so hopefully it'll it'll convey some of the beauty that we've got here at Ladybower. Pete, thanks very much for the time.
No, absolute
you've given me
pleasure
this
to see
morning.
you.
I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll get out there, get the dries on, and have a grand day.
Have a great day's angling, my friend. There you go.
There's an old saying in the military, no plan survives contact, and my initial setup, although I was garnering some interest, I wasn't actually hooking fish up, so I soon changed to a fast tip, and that seemed to really change my day. I changed my flies, so I removed the daddies from my top dropper and put on an orange blob, and that brought a fish to the net. Well, that's my first Ladybower trout in the boat. A little lucky, I didn't know much about it, if I'm honest. I've been working through various flies. I'm on a fast tip now, and what I'm doing is I was roly-polying back and hanging. Hanging's so important in any kind of stillwater fishing, because you'll pick up a vast majority of your fish if you do it diligently. There's no point in doing it once or twice and then thinking it's not working, I'm not going to bother with that, I'll just get recasting. And what you'll find is there'll be, every now and then, if you're paying attention, there'll be a swirl where your flies used to be. And that's the fish looking for its meal that you've just pulled out of the water. So always hang your flies. Give it 5-10 seconds, depends on the day. Sometimes by accident, I'll be chatting to a friend in the boat and I'll have left my flies hanging for maybe up to 20 seconds and the line will just buckle over. So you've got to experiment. It's different each day. Sometimes it's within the first 5 seconds of hanging your flies, you will get the rod just buckle over. There's no striking required. It's just a case of bang and you're in. Other times you'll just see the tippet move slightly and you have to strike, and that's when you'll get your bonus fish. So always hang when you're fishing, even at small still waters. When you're bringing your fly line in towards the bank, when you can see the tip of your line, just give it a pause, stop. I call it a conscious pause because very often we do unconscious pauses, like reaching for a sandwich, and that's when we get a take and we don't end up hooking up with a fish. So it is important to take that conscious decision to stop your flies, count to 5, count to 10, count to 15, and see if anything's just been swimming up behind that looking for an easy meal. And you'll be very surprised how often that'll produce a fish for you. So I'm going to go back to the roly-poly. That's what worked with to catch my last fish. And what I've done now, cast-wise, I've worked my way through several flies to no avail. I only give flies maybe 10, 20 casts if they're not working. And I know I'm in an area where there's fish, and I know there's fish here. I've seen some on the surface and I've risen a few. I'm probably a little high in the water, if I'm honest with myself. I should really change to maybe a fast glass or maybe even a DI3 so I can increase the speed of my retrieve, because these fish are up for a chase today. There's no doubt about that. I've had several now that have been rushed up behind the flies, but then they've just not committed to taking. And a lot of that is when you're high in the water and the fly's on the top, it's quite difficult for a trout to take a moving target when it's sitting on the surface. If you can get your fly under the surface, that's when the take will come. The wind on that last drift was pretty kind, to be fair, although it does seem to be dragging me out away from the bank. I want to be tucked right in, maybe 10-20 feet off that bank. And what I'm going to do in a second is just start the engine and make sure I get that distance that I want. I'm just going to finish working this cast in. I've seen fish all over this area actually, so I'm pretty much opposite the cages. The boat docks off to my right, and there seems to be plenty of fish up this bank. Well, I'm having a whale of a time here at Ladybower. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I've had 2 or 3 fish now, and I've got to be honest, even if I wasn't catching fish, I can't think of a nicer place to be not catching fish. But of course, you're not here for me blanking. You're here to see how I'm catching fish and what I think of Ladybower. Now, when you come to a brand new venue as I have here, it's sometimes quite daunting, especially a water the size of Ladybower. It's not as full as it should be, to be sure. It's the lowest water I think I've seen in any reservoir for a long time. But you can see the line where the water level usually is, and I bet it's absolutely fantastic to fish when it's got a lot more water in it. But it's pretty good now, I've got to be honest. I've had a lot of sport. I've not had as many fish to the boat as I would hope. I've lost 2 or 3 now at distance, and I've also lost a couple in play, which is quite annoying really, but it's been when I've been trying to do some filming. It's always the same. The fish want to play when they want to play, so I might be doing a piece to camera, and that's exactly the time the fish decide to join in, and there we go, and I'm not paying attention. It's always the way, and you'll have done it yourself. Had a little lunch break, sat down with your sandwiches, and you can't get peace because they're all over you. So I've tried a few different methods. I started out on the dries, the couple of daddies with a little Bob's bits in the middle, and I got almost instant action to that. But the problem was I wasn't hooking the fish up, and it wasn't because I was missing them. I wasn't being too quick. They just weren't taking it properly, and I was doing another little piece to camera about line changing and really reeling in quite fast, and that's when I discovered how the fish wanted it today. They want it moved. They're in a chasing mood, and I'm all for filling their wishes. So I've been kind of working my way with various lines. I've had a slow glass on, I've got the baby poo line on now. It's just fishing under the surface. I sometimes see the bow wave, I sometimes don't, but whatever, every time I get to the boat, I'm hanging my flies. And I would say 50% of the fish, or action should I say, because I haven't hooked many of them, has come on the hang, and so that's what I'm continuing to do. I'm now working my way to a different part of the reservoir, so I've concentrated my efforts on the far side of the dam and down that bank, and it's full of fish. I mean, I dare say if I go back there, and I might well do that this afternoon before I finish, is go back with the cast I think's going to work and then fish down that bank. But at the moment it's brand new to me, and I want to see more of the reservoir, so I'm going to come down this bank, and then I might have a look around the corner to see what it's like. I was warned earlier that due to the water levels, some of the bays, or the legs if you like, of the reservoir have become really shallow. As long as the water's cool enough, the fish will be there. So, approaching a brand new venue, what did I do in preparation for coming up to Ladybower? Well, the first thing I did was I got onto Google Maps. You can get a terrain view of the reservoir, and you can start seeing the layout of the fishery, if you like, and that's a really good thing to do. Get on Google Maps if you're going somewhere brand new. It's also a good space to look if you're intending to park to fish the banks. You can see where all the parking spots are, and it's definitely worth doing. Google Maps. The next thing, of course, is our trusty friend Facebook. get on Facebook, see if there's a group. Most of the fisheries now have a Facebook group, and there'll be reports about how the fishery's fishing, the flies that are catching, and what to expect when you come. And I did that, and it certainly has been fishing well, and I don't disbelieve that because of the number of fish I've seen already today. It's probably going to fish its head off in September, if I'm honest. Once the water's cooled down to probably normal temperatures for here, it is going to be amazing sport. The trouble is, it's 4.5 hours drive for me, and I'm not quite sure I can justify coming all the way up. I might only get 4 or 5 fishing, and then I've got a 4 or 5 hour drive back home. And I think this might be one I saved for my retirement, and I come up and stay for a few days when I've got the time to really explore the fishery and do it justice. I was saying to Pete, you know, the videos that I make, I love making them. It's great. I like to help people. I want to encourage people to give fly fishing a go. I mean, it's so much fun. And why wouldn't you? I mean, just look around me. It's absolutely stunning. The thing is, it's one day. It's usually a Saturday, the day I'm not working. I do have a full-time job. And I've got one day to shoot the whole video, start to finish. And that's... it's more of a challenge than you might think, because a lot of the preamble takes you into 10, half 10. I think I didn't start till 11:15 today fishing. So I'm not really getting much fishing time. But to get the videos to the best quality, that's what you've got to do. And then, of course, you've got the pressure of coming out and having to hook a few fish for the camera. Again, it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes it is easy, but other days it's not so easy. You've really got to work to get some fish in the boat for the camera. But I've only got, well, I'm 59 in September. 59. I don't know where it went, if I'm honest, but it did go. What I intend to do is get myself either a camper van or something of that ilk, or I may well just come to these fisheries and spend 2 or 3 days taking my time, getting the sunrise, getting the sunset, getting all the ambience, and showing you the evening rise, and things that I'm just not in a position to do at the moment due to the nature of the way I shoot the videos. But in years to come, this channel's only going to get better, I can promise you that. Anyway, I'm going to stop wittering on and try and catch some of the fish that I'm now seeing in front of me. Well, I have been concentrating my efforts much closer into the bank, and I've just come out after a bit of lunch to see if the fish are in the open water as well. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be, and I have seen a couple moving. Not many, but a few. So let's see how we get on with this open water drift. I'm actually going to be drifting past the cages here at Ladybower, and there's always usually fish hanging around the cage area. Stocked reared fish. They've got a rearing policy here, and Pete was saying that next year they're going to be stocking their own rainbow trout. So wherever there's cages, there's fish, because they get fed at a certain time, and the fish will know that, and the meal that drops down through the cage, there'll be huge fish underneath them. Now there is buoys around the cages, and I'm not going to chance my arm by going right into the cages. I think that would just be rude. So I'll drift down the side and see if I can't find any outliers that might give me a tug. The afternoon sadly didn't fulfil the promise of the morning sport. I managed a couple of more fish before the weather really closed in. So, what's the verdict on Ladybower? In a word, amazing. We are so lucky in this country to have lakes and rivers that would rival any in the world. Hidden gems that, along with fantastic fishing, offer simply breathtaking scenery. Having fished all over the UK, there are few fisheries to match the beauty of Ladybower. It is a place I can't wait to get back to. If you have enjoyed the video, please do remember to leave it a like. It really would be appreciated. Now, if you are interested in river fishing, why not check out my trip to Bosnia and the River Ribnik. If you want to see how to improve your buzzer fishing, have a look at this video.